Is the shunning that is practiced by religious groups about to become a criminal offence? If so, many thousands of religious shunning cults all around the world will be up for criminal charges unless they change their policies in time. What has happened to cause this potential cataclysmic change in how society is viewing such religious shunning groups? I'm going to tell you. Recently, the 15th of September, the Belgian congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses attended a hearing in a criminal court in response to charges of discrimination based on religious beliefs and incitement to hatred. It is the first time that the Jehovah's Witnesses are being tried in a criminal court anywhere in the world. If they get found guilty, we're going to see the biggest exposure of religious cults in history, because most, if not all of them, practice shunning. So in this short video, I'm going to explore 3 questions. Number 1, should shunning, can be a bit of a tongue twister this, as is the culture of many religious groups, be a criminal offence? 2, is shunning based on religious beliefs discrimination? And 3, is shunning incitement to hatred? So first of all, should shunning as is the culture of many religious groups be a criminal offence? Absolutely yes, in my view. I'll tell you from my own personal experience why I believe this. But first, let me quote from this court case in question, which follows a 5-year investigation by a court magistrate in Ghent in response to complaints filed by Patrick Hayek, an ex-member. Quoting from the bulletin, Hayek was a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses for 35 years and was an elder, someone with a considerable authority within his local congregation in Ghent. When he exposed a case of sexual abuse within the congregation, he was officially shunned. Jehovah's Witnesses use shunning as a tactic to keep members from being disloyal to the group, as all cults do. He claimed it's worse than just being excluded. He told Het Nieuwsblad, from the highest levels of the organisation comes the order that no one is allowed to talk to you, not even your own family. They declared that this person must be avoided because they have a mental illness that is contagious. So, should it be a criminal offence? This is what Hayek said about this court case. He said, it's an important precedent. Hayek told VRT, how is it possible that a religious community can commit a crime under the guise of freedom of religion? Now, if you've never been in a religious cult before, you might be surprised to know that millions of people across the world are being shunned right now. And here is the exact reason why. It is because the leader or leadership have indoctrinated their followers, persuading them to cutting themselves off from non-members and shunning them, resulting in millions of families being destroyed. This is what is at stake. The leadership make the rules, the groups under the leadership carry out the instructions. Both are culpable in my view. Now, in my experience, I have been both shunner and shunned. And here's my short story. When I was 4, I was born into the Exclusive Brethren. And when I was 4, my 4 grandparents left the Exclusive Brethren. It was 1970, and the man of God was found in bed with a naked lady. His excuse was that it was an ambush. No, wait a minute, a Madeleine bush. No, sorry. It was an ambush. It was an ambush to shake off people who were not for him. And 8,000 people didn't buy it, and they left, including my 4 grandparents. And so I didn't see them again, but a few weeks later, my grandfather and mother pulled up outside the house, maybe to have a look at their grandchildren. And the fear that went through me and my brothers at seeing these monsters that were opposed to the man of God was incredible, and I was only then 4. When I became 22, I left the Exclusive Brethren and I was shunned. It meant that my family and all the people I knew had nothing more to do with me. And for the last 32 years, they haven't contacted me to come round to my house because they're shunning me. And I don't really like telling these personal things, but I will do because it is creating awareness of what goes on in religious cults. It's my personal experience, and it may help. So, I've watched many families over those 22 years get divided and destroyed. What was once closely knit families became severed, and the people were shunned. So should shunning be made a criminal offence? Let's first look at the definition of criminal. It's of an action or situation deplorable and shocking. Shunning like Hayek's story, like mine and millions of ex-cult members across the world, is deplorable and shocking. So absolutely yes, I believe it should be made a criminal offence. Society just hasn't caught up yet with this scourge on humanity which destroys and is destroying the very fabric of society. But one second, does separation have any place in society? Are there legitimate circumstances where people are taken out of society and kept away from other people? Yes, it's called prison. It's when people unfortunately can't stop themselves from murdering people, selling drugs to people, harming people, and society doesn't allow it to happen. But even when those people are put in prison, they're not shunned, they get visits from loved ones. There's compassion. But cults don't shun ex-members just because of those extreme reasons, which you could say are understandable. I've known them to harshly kick people out and shun them for life, for just owning a mobile phone, being caught with one, having a cigarette, watching the royal wedding, having a television, having a radio in the car, breaking any of the many rules and laws that the leader has enforced through indoctrination. But here's the main reason why people get shunned. Hear this. It's when people simply don't agree with the doctrines of the leader or leadership, and they even dare to question the leadership. Think about that for a second. These religious leaders set themselves up as being right. All of the religions and churches, whatever you call them, are wrong. Disagree with the leader or leadership, and you're kicked out, ostracized, shunned, and those who remain now don't have normal relationships with you anymore. This has led many to depression, trauma, and suicides. So, should shunning be made a criminal offence? What about religious freedoms though? Freedom to use religion to sexually abuse? No. Freedom to use religion to put fear into people and control them? No. Freedom to indoctrinate followers into cutting off and shunning anyone who leaves, no matter what? No. Shunning is criminal, in my opinion. It should be made a criminal offence. What do you think? Please leave comments below. Number 2, is shunning that is based on religious beliefs discrimination? Of course it is, in my view. Here's why. Racism is discrimination, the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics or qualities, especially so as to distinguish them as inferior or superior to one another. The very act of shunning is to look down on someone and distinguish them as being inferior. Why? Usually just because they disagree with the doctrines of the leader or leadership. Number 3, is shunning incitement to hatred? Absolutely, in my view. And here's why. Now, cults will say, no, we shun because we love you. We have cut you off and our emotional connection with you is no longer there, but we love you. We avoid you and keep away from you, but we love you. We won't call to see how you are, but we love you. We won't eat or drink with you anymore, but we love you. We won't always tell you if your loved one dies, but we love you. We don't want you to staying in our house and living with us, but we love you. We won't visit you in your home or stay with you, but we love you. We won't go on holidays, go shopping or spend Christmas with you, but we love you. We won't celebrate your birthdays or the birth of your children, but we love you. We won't allow you to fully join in with our weddings and funerals, but we love you. No, you don't. You love a man or men who have you gripped under their complete control, who you idolize, revere and worship. your leadership, that is, that you have given yourself over to follow and obey, to death do you part, if necessary, and you would obey anything he or they said, even if they said it's time to commit suicide. I remember clearly, as if it was yesterday, the fear and hatred I had for anyone who left our righteous fellowship. They were close friends, family friends 1 minute, the next minute they were monsters, devilish monsters. How dare they disobey the man of God and bring the position into disrepute by disagreeing with him, the only true church on earth. They're now labelled as bastards. Shunning your family and friends, I believe, is not love. I believe it is hatred. And the leaders of these cults are inciting hatred by their indoctrination of all their members to shun those who do not agree with him. So what next? The congregation in Belgium, charged with the crime of shunning, is being given several months to prepare their case. The trial begins next February. Hayek hopes this will set a precedent in other countries, he said, not only for Jehovah's Witnesses, but other religious organisations as well. There is a strict separation of church and state. Now that there is more attention being paid to religious extremism, we have to ask ourselves where we draw the line. At what point the state must become involved? Well, it's become involved in paedophilia, as we've seen, and other abuses. Is shunning the next one? So, February, which gives religious groups time to change their shunning policies if they're wise. They will exchange their shunning policies for love, humility, grace, and start treating everyone like human beings that deserve to be treated kindly with compassion and unconditional love. So thank you for watching. In the description below, I'll put the link to this Belgium article to read in full, should you want to. You'll see the website link to cultescape.com. There is a completely free and an anonymous quiz, by the way, there called Are You in a Religious Cult? Take the test. And so, how do you feel about shunning? Should it be a criminal offence in your view? Please leave a comment. Let's interact. And lastly, please like and subscribe to this Cult Escape channel, which will help create even more awareness. And you never know, it might help someone find freedom from cult control. Goodbye for now.